Do you think a Russia phobic attitude is conducive to global prospects? Well, you know, there's this chip on the shoulder that the Russian people, the Russian government seem to have. They say, oh, everything Russian's being criticized. What do we do? Well, you guys kind of did run an empire in the 20th century that killed 200 million people. That happened. It's a fact. It was called the Soviet Union. And Chernobyl happened, and ethnic cleansing happened, and gulags happened. And there's some hard feelings floating around the world, and if America was to collapse, I guarantee you there'd be plenty of people floating around who get pretty upset about what America's done historically. When you run an empire, whether you're China, Russia, or the United States, you have to stay strong to evade criticism. And if you get periods of weakness, then the criticism gets higher. He also did this other thing. It was called invade Ukraine. And whether you think it was justified because of NATOification of the East or not, that killed over 1 million people. The Ukrainians didn't invade Russia. The Russians invaded Ukraine. And when you do that, when you kill 1 million people, and boy, it did happen because I have offices in Ukraine. I had them in Kharkiv, and they're gone now. There's going to be a blowback, and understandably so. And I don't want to blame the Russian people for the decisions that a dictator who controls the Russian people makes. I have many friends in Russia, in St. Petersburg and Moscow and other places. I studied mathematics. It's unavoidable that some of your friends are mathematicians and they happen to come from Russia or live in Russia. And the Haskell community has a lot of prominent Russians in it. Crypto community has a lot of prominent Russians. Ergo was created by a Russian. Alex Cherpanoy, who's a good friend of mine, and did a lot of the great work in Russia there. And it broke my heart when the diplomacy went to hell, because it was very easy to work with and talk to and build relationships with people from Russia. Lex Friedman is a very affable guy from Russia. There's good people, very good people. But it doesn't excuse what's happened. And it doesn't excuse the fact that there's nothing to stop what happened from happening again. There's nothing to stop Putin from invading another country, like Georgia, for example. Really is nothing. He just decide to go do it. There's nothing to stop them from killing another 1 million people. And so the international community is trying to figure out how to resolve and handle this situation. And it's a tough situation. And it's not a hypothetical academic reality. It's a lived reality for tens of millions of people right now who are suffering. And they live under an enormous amount of uncertainty. And they don't even know what the flag of their country is going to be after the conflict is over. So that's why there's a Russia phobic attitude. Just like there was a US phobic attitude when we invaded Iraq. And a lot of countries took deep offense to it, especially in the Middle East. And it created a lot of political ill will. That's what happens when you have an empire and your empire invades people. You have to own that. You get all the upside of empire. Get the political power, you get the strong passport, you get all the trade, you get the low cost of goods, you get the good education system, you get the good transportation, you get the cultural diversity, because as you conquer people, you integrate them and you get all their cultures and ideas. But then the downside is that when you screw up and you do bad things and you hurt people, then the rest of the world reacts accordingly. There's a yin with a yang.